Welcome to JTA Making Moves. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Michael Blaylock is here. He'll be joining me in just a moment. But first, we're going to look at some JTA headlines. Our top story, for the first time ever, the JTA Board of Directors took its show on the road, holding its December board meeting in Jacksonville Beach. It was standing room only for this special meeting that helped celebrate JTA's 55 years of service to this community. The packed house included several Beach's dignitaries and several past JTA chairmen. Meanwhile, the board finalized construction plans for the 22-acre Find Island site that sits in the Intracoastal Waterway near the Atlantic Boulevard Bridge. You may remember that just over a year ago, that site garnered attention when some local firemen raised an American flag at the top of the 25-foot-high mound. The flag was to honor the 343 fallen firefighters from the 9/11 tragedy. At the request of the city of Neptune Beach, JTA is now removing that mound.
I'm very thrilled. I think that it's where we wanted to go, to see the marsh grasses, the hill gone, and the marsh protected.
The board also elected a new chairman. Michael Cavendish was named to succeed Ava Parker, who has served as chair for the past 2 years. Cavendish, a local attorney, joined the JTA board back in 2007. I sat down with this new chairman to hear his thoughts on running a transportation agency in these tough economic times. We'll have that interview coming up just a little later in the show. Now, along with naming Cavendish its new chairman, the board also selected developer Ed Burr as its new vice chair. Cleve Warren is treasurer, and Alan Mosley is the new secretary. The board is also getting a new member this month, but it'll be a familiar face for sure. Donna Harper, the CEO of Systems Logistics Company, was appointed to the board by outgoing Florida Governor Charlie Crist. Harper, a resident of Atlantic Beach, replaces A.J. Johns, who retired from the board late last year. This is Harper's second stint on the board, though. She previously served from 1999 to 2007, including 2 years as chairwoman. And now let's bring in JTA Executive Director and CEO Michael Blaylock. And there is so much to talk about in this new year. So let's begin with that board meeting at the beaches. How about taking the show on the road? What was that like? And why did you decide to do it?
You know, that was an interesting move. We thought it would be fitting in recognition of the long-term partnerships that we've had with the beach communities, in particular Jacksonville Beach, because they work with us in terms of the replacement of that bridge project. So as a part of that celebration of the bridge, the dedication of the bridge, as well as the partnering relationships that we've had with the people at the beach, we thought it would be fitting to sort of take the show on the road and partake in that meeting at their facilities.
Okay, so now that you've done that one time, do you have any plans to continuously do that?
I think there'll be opportunities. I think there will be opportunities where the authority can take its meeting to the public and engage the public in a lot of the things that we're trying to do.
It seems like JTA has found a solution for the Find Island situation. There's a lot of controversy going on, and tell us about that.
Well, Joyce, we were determined to find some sort of a win-win situation with respect to that project. And so in working with Mayor Pruitt and the community at Neptune Beach, we were able to find what we consider a very cost-effective solution, because when we started out, we were talking about a tremendous amount of money to get that removed. But because of the economy and the competitiveness of contractors, you know, we found a solution that could get this thing done. So we're excited about that.
Not only do you have the solution, but it appears that this is going to be coming to fruition in the next few weeks or so.
Yes, we're working with the Corps of Engineers to do all the final details, and we should be underway pretty shortly.
Okay, and a new board member, Donna Harper. She's a new board member, but she's actually just returning.
Well, you know, that's exciting for the agency, because you're dealing with an accomplished business person that's returning to the board, who's worked with us before. and she was a part of the work in terms of getting the Better Jacksonville program underway. So she's quite familiar with the things that we do. So having that addition back to the board and with that veteran experience, I think will be, particularly now with the times that we're faced with, having that kind of experience, I think will go a long way.
Oh, absolutely. In other news, in her final act as chair, Ava Parker formally dedicated the Beach Boulevard Bridge on its one-year anniversary of its official opening.
So protect this bridge and all that passed over her. Shelter her from tempest and storm. So you guys raise your glass and...
Dozens of people braved the cold temperatures to celebrate this important engineering achievement. The Beach Boulevard Bridge replaced a decades-old drawbridge that brought traffic to a halt several times a day just so marine traffic could pass through. The new bridge features 3 lanes in each direction and provides uninterrupted traffic flow for more than 34,000 vehicles every day. And Michael, you have to just talk about what a difference that's got to make, and why is that whole project so important anyway?
Well, it's a tremendous difference. I mean, to your point earlier, we've actually improved the capacity, got 3 lanes on both sides, and you don't have to deal with the disruption of the bridge being raised. So, and if you think about Beach Boulevard, it's a tremendous economic corridor. So now that's allowing that free flow of activity onto the beaches and into town. And those businesses that are located, the access to those businesses have been much improved by this great mobility feat. So we're really excited about getting this thing done once and for all.
Well, transit ridership over the entire system during the first 2 months of fiscal year 2011 is up by a whopping 8.3%. That's about 170,000 trips more than last year at this time. At its current pace, ridership could top 13 million trips for the year. That would easily outpace the 11.9 million trips taken back in 2006, which is the highest previous total in decades. Well, in celebration of JTA's 55th anniversary and our own JTA at 55 special, the Making Moves crew was on the move in December, hitting area malls on a promotional tour. Terry Casey, Eugene Lindsay, and Bill Milnes all joined me at events at the Landing and at Regency Square Mall, where we talk with so many people about making moves and, of course, the JTA's 55 years of service to Jacksonville. You know what, I tell you, Michael, it was so wonderful just talking to people about JTA and just watching their expression when we told them some of the things that JTA is responsible for that they had no idea about.
That's true. And that's all part of the message, is trying to make certain that the community fully understand all the things that we provide to this community.
It is really wonderful. And in the news business, we would call your next thought breaking news. Okay. Yes. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of new information. Tell us about it.
Well, we're just really happy. Just in the aftermath of conversing with a lot of those citizens that participated in the different interviews you guys conducted, we launched on the idea of offering Facebook. So Making Moves now will have its own Facebook page, and that again provides another pipeline of communicating with our citizens to really let them know precisely what we're doing, and then they can, of course, access different stories that have been provided through the Making Moves. So I'm really excited about it. It's a wonderful communication tool, more personalized, and so we're just trying to find every avenue to try to communicate with the public in terms of what we're trying to do, and then allow them to interact with us.
Oh, it's going to be exciting, and of course everyone should watch for the Making Moves launch on Facebook. That is coming on February 1st. And still to come on this edition of Making Moves, hear what members of a new study commission say about the challenges of creating a regional approach for transportation in Northeast Florida. And the new JTA board chair has big plans for the agency. We'll hear from him when we come back.
JTA Making Moves, brought to you in part by Gannett Fleming. Gannett Fleming, connecting people and places with innovative transportation and engineering solutions for over 95 years. And by Florida Career Tech, a division of Florida State College of Jacksonville. Florida Career Tech, offering fast and affordable technical career training for the skilled careers of Florida's workforce.
Another long night. And I have to work this weekend.
Not me, girl. I have big plans this weekend. Why the long hours? What Dawn doesn't know is Ashley's training to work in this upscale salon costs thousands of dollars at a private beauty school. Dawn went to Florida Coast Career Tech. Better training for a fraction of the cost. With no big loan payment, the money you earn can go to that weekend getaway.
Learn affordably. Live richly.
The business world can be a stressful place. Running to meetings, phone call after phone call, deadlines. Sometimes you just have to get away. So next time you need some stress relief, hop on board the Beaches Trolley and put some sand between your toes. The Beaches Trolley, now running daily. Making Moves wants to hear from you. We want to hear your JTA story. We want to hear how JTA has affected your life. Maybe you're the Mayport teacher who sat in rush hour traffic for an hour each way every day for years until JTA planned and built the Wonderwood connector. Now she's home in about 10 minutes, and instead of sitting in traffic, she's spending quality time with her family. Or the Southside area worker who saves 45 minutes per trip by taking the Dames Point Bridge to his job at the airport instead of traveling through downtown. Or perhaps you rode JTA to college and were the first in your family to get a degree and now have a great job thanks in part to JTA. There are thousands of JTA stories out there. We want to hear yours. Email us your story at makingmovestv@jtafla.com.
You're watching JTA Making Moves, honored by the Florida Public Transportation Association with its 2010 Award of Excellence.
JTA is under new board leadership as 2011 begins. Attorney Michael Cavendish is the man now charged with taking the Transit Authority through the latest economic challenges while building upon the foundation already laid out for the future. Cavendish says he's been tutored by great leaders and he's prepared for his new duties and the new position as board chair.
For Michael Cavendish, JTA board meetings will have a different meaning as he hits the gavel as board chair at the end of the month. Cavendish, an attorney with Gunster, Yoakley, and Stewart, admits he's learned so much about JTA and mobility over the 3 years as a board member and vice chair, and that gives him a much better perspective in his new role.
Well, I've learned an awful lot of the hard stuff about exactly how our road projects go from start to finish, where the funding comes from, what the planning processes are, and how it all comes together.
He says he's also had the best mentors and teachers. They were former board chairs Ava Parker and Cleve Warren.
When folks are open like that and share what they're doing with the folks around them, you pick up more, you learn more, and then you can put it to use when it's your turn.
The new board chair says that he believes JTA serves more people in our community than any other agency, well, with the exception of JEA. But Mike Cavendish also refers to JTA as the Federal Reserve of roads.
The Federal Reserve sets our nation's monetary policy and interest rates. It does so independently. It does so without regard to political pressure. It's a bunch of people coming together and trying their very best to simply get it right. That's what JTA does with roads and transit.
Cavendish says getting it right means knowing what transit clients need by taking community outreach to a new level.
I've told our wonderful executive director, Michael Blaylock, that he and I are going to ride the bus together. we're going to spend some time thinking about what we're doing now and what we want to do in the coming months and years from the client's perspective.
And Cavendish says his vision includes keeping the projects underway, looking for new projects, and trying to find alternative sources of funding. He is also excited about taking over as chair of the Regional Transportation Study Commission.
We've got 7 counties that we're partnering with to take a look at regional transportation planning and implementation. It's going to be a 2-year process, but I'm excited about it.
Cavendish automatically takes over as chair of the RTSC. Okay, Mr. Blaylock, your impressions on this young man who is so full of energy.
And energy we need. We're actually really excited about this. I mean, he has an enormous background, and I think it's going to be a tremendous value. And he's already hit the ground running. I think the public's going to see a lot of him because he really wants to engage. He appreciates and really encourages a lot of the public outreach activities that we're engaged in. So I'm really excited about this new leadership. So.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, we also want to acknowledge the work that Ava Parker has done as chair during the past 2 years, certainly 2 of the most challenging years for JTA in a very long time.
Yeah, and she did a phenomenal job. I mean, considering all of the challenges that we've had over the past 2 years, I mean, to end the year with the successes that we've had, the ridership increases, the fiscal being able to meet our budget and really do some incredible things financially, I think it's been a real testament to her leadership. So we, you know, again, Joyce, I say this all the time, the people that serve on our board are just phenomenal people, and it's just so important. These people dedicate their time on a voluntary basis, not being paid at all. And if I had to pay their salaries, I mean, we'll be bankrupt. In terms of their hourly rates, but we just have incredible leadership on that board. We're just really absolutely just excited about having that kind of leadership.
A special commission created to come up with a regional transportation plan for Northeast Florida isn't wasting any time. The panel met for the first time in December in a 3-hour session that was part getting to know you and part getting down to work. As our Terry Casey reports, there are a lot of challenges facing this group, a lot of questions, and a lot at stake in the outcome.
Overall, things may appear to be running smoothly in Northeast Florida, but appearances can be deceiving. Transportation problems of one type or another may be just down the road.
That's because transportation and related issues such as growth, development, and construction don't necessarily stop at county lines. The task of the Commission is to come up with some sort of plan that meets the needs of all the counties in the Northeast Florida region.
Entry on this list. That's a tall order. The Commission's lifespan is 2 years. Sounds like a long time, but is it time enough to forge a consensus on a final plan by 20 members with different perspectives?
I believe that the ideal outcome would be a regional transportation authority that is equitably governed and adequately funded and focused on a regional multimodal transportation system.
That issue is up for debate and development, and if it makes sense, we'll recommend it. If it doesn't, we won't.
Flagler County isn't sure it even belongs in this region because most residents there head south out of the county to shop and north to go to work.
We're not quite sure whether we are part of Volusia County, whether we're part of St. Johns County. So as we talk about regional transportation, we are kind of at a dilemma as to where our people need to go and how best to get them there.
There are lots of questions.
What are specific projects that we can work on together as a region? Is it mass transit? Is it commuter rail? Is it road projects?
Lots of challenges.
We've got to figure out and develop a source of funding for the necessary infrastructure which will be required to meet our transportation goals for the next 30 to 40 years.
The idea is to get out of our county lines, look regionally, and try to compete for state and federal and local dollars, for that matter, to benefit the region as a whole, not just our municipality or city or county.
And from Commission Chairman Ava Parker, an answer to overcoming most of the challenges, if not all of them.
When it comes to trust, I think it's the idea of trusting the idea that we have to work together in order to find a resolution.
Well, the sign says road closed for now, That means all the Commission has to do is come up with a plan. For Making Moves, I'm Terry Casey.
When Making Moves returns, we'll head to the construction zone for some news on 2 projects vital to the port expansion and some final thoughts from Michael Blaylock. We'll be right back.
I was looking to jumpstart my career, and Florida Coast Career Tech has the reputation of being the best.
If a student comes to Florida Coast Career Tech, they will end up with a career they love.
I've learned more about HVAC in 3 weeks than I have in my entire construction career.
I'm learning a lot here because the instructors are great.
Florida Coast Career Tech students are trained so well, they can hit the ground running.
Florida Coast Career Tech helped me do this.
Making Moves wants to hear from you. We want to hear your JTA story. We want to hear how JTA has affected your life. Maybe you're the Mayport teacher who sat in rush hour traffic for an hour each way every day for years until JTA planned and built the Wonderwood Connector. Now she's home in about 10 minutes, and instead of sitting in traffic, she's spending quality time with her family. Or the Southside area worker who saves 45 minutes per trip by taking the Dames Point Bridge to his job at the airport instead of traveling through downtown. Or perhaps you rode JTA to college and were the first in your family to get a degree and now have a great job thanks in part to JTA. There are thousands of JTA stories out there. We want to hear yours. Email us your story at makingmovestv@jtafla.com. Making Moves thanks to following companies for their generous support of the JTA at 55 celebration and the Making Moves JTA at 55 special. The Marriott Hotel in South Point, the Jacksonville Landing, Regency Square Mall, River City Brewing Company, Benny's Steak and Seafood, and Dave & Buster's.
Welcome back to Making Moves. It's a brand new year, but the construction zone continues to be a busy place. Here's an update on 2 projects that will play an important role in the port expansion.
What we basically did there was widen the road and add shoulders, plus increase the structure of the pavement with milling and additional paving on top of that, basically in anticipation of increased truck traffic from both the Hanjin port and the proposed Mitsui plant or port that's going to be there hopefully in the future. There's the idea that once the containers and the trucks start increasing in traffic, you might end up with congestion right there at Heckscher and 9A and get a lot of the overflow trucks using Alta and New Berlin to access that second interchange on 9A.
We'll have a 4-lane divided highway with a straighter alignment, a little higher vertical clearance on the bridges, and just a wider, safer roadway. The one at Broward River was actually an old lift bridge which hadn't been functioning in a lot of years. The alignment on the roadway had some severe curves. By changing the alignment, it straightened that out. The bridges were just outdated, old barrier, low clearance and height and everything else with it. So it just needed the whole rehab on it.
And if you would like more information on any of these JTA construction projects, just visit our website at jtafla.com. Time now for some final thoughts with Michael Blaylock in this January 2011. Doesn't that sound wonderful just saying that?
Time really flies.
It does.
Josh, I think I'd like to end this edition just by thanking the community for entrusting this authority for the past 55 years in delivering the kind of projects that we're now enjoying. The Wonderwood Expressway, the Danes Point, Butler, and then providing over 500 million public transit trips to the community for getting people to work and medical attention and so forth. And I think it's just phenomenal what this agency has been able to accomplish with the kind of collaboration and partnerships that we've had with the Florida Department of Transportation, the City of Jacksonville, and then of course our partners that we're working with. So if you mentioned earlier, we shared with Jacksonville Beach in the Coastal Waterway Bridge. And that is so critical when you recognize the fact that the agency is a state agency, but we work on a localized basis, and those partnerships and that collaborative spirit is so critically important. And so as we look to the next 55 years, we recognize the challenges of the past 55 years when you think about all the political and environmental and financial challenges 55 years ago. We believe quite confidently that as this community continue to entrust us, that we would look for the next 55 years in terms of building what we call a world-class transportation system, a world-class mobility system that is so critically needed to maintain the economic advantage of Northeast Florida. So we're going to have to do things a lot different than we did 55 years ago. When you recognize the fact that federal and state fundings are dwindling away, so we're going to have to, as a community, as a region, think of new ways to meet and finance the various transportation projects that we need to get underway here in this region. So I just want to commend this community and thank this community for, and we take this with great responsibility in terms of in being entrusted with this responsibility to deliver the transportation projects for this region. And so I just want to tell this community, thank you for our first 55 years, and we look forward to creating a world-class as we chart together over the next 55 years how Northeast Florida is going to look in terms of transportation.
Wow, transportation and mobility, it's exciting.
It's very exciting.
2011.
And we have a great community, Joyce, and we really need to recognize that.
I believe that, okay. Absolutely. And that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. Thanks for joining us today. If you missed part of the show or just want to watch it again, complete episodes of Making Moves are always available online at jtafla.com. And don't forget to check out Making Moves on Facebook. That's right, starting February 1st. For Michael Blaylock and the entire Making Moves team, I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. We'll see you the next time we're making moves.